Every version of her story starts the same way. A foreign princess falls in love with a Greek hero and helps him steal something that isn't his. What almost never gets said is which foreign country. Her father ruled Colchis, a real kingdom on the eastern shore of the Black Sea, roughly where western Georgia sits today. The Greeks who told her story had never been there. That's part of why they needed her to be a witch. Her name was Medea, granddaughter of the sun god Helios, niece of Circe, the sorceress who would later turn Odysseus's crew into pigs, daughter of King Aeetes, who kept a golden ram's fleece nailed to an oak tree in a sacred grove, guarded by a dragon that never slept. She was not a witch by birth. She was a priestess of Hecate, trained in the pharmaca, the drugs, poisons, and herbal knowledge that Black Sea folk medicine was, to Greek writers, genuinely famous for. The magic came later, in the retelling. The knowledge came first. Jason showed up in Colchis with a ship called the Argo and a crew of 50, sent by his uncle Peleus to fetch the fleece. A task Peleus assumed was a death sentence. Aeetes agreed to hand it over on one condition. Jason had to yoke 2 fire-breathing bronze bulls, plow a field with them, sow it with dragon's teeth, and survive the army of armed men that grew out of the furrow by nightfall. It was not a negotiation. It was an execution dressed as a contest. Apollonius of Rhodes, writing the fullest surviving version around 250 BCE, gives the turn a specific engine. Hera and Aphrodite conspire to make Medea fall for Jason, using Eros and his arrows, because the goddesses need her knowledge, not her heart. Medea gives Jason a fireproof ointment and tells him the trick for the earthborn soldiers. Throw a stone into their ranks, and they'll turn on each other. He survives the field because she told him how. The dragon guarding the fleece was the harder problem. And it's where Medea stops being a helper and becomes the reason the myth works at all. She sings it to sleep, or drugs it, the sources vary. And Jason lifts the fleece off the branch. Then they run, because Aeetes was never going to let his daughter's foreign lover sail out of the harbor with the kingdom's treasure. What happens next is the detail most retellings quietly drop. To slow her father's pursuit, Medea brings her younger brother Absyrtus on board and kills him, cutting his body into pieces and scattering them in the sea, so Aeetes has to stop and gather his son's remains instead of chasing the Argo. Pindar's version, the earliest detailed account we have, written around 466 BCE, skips this scene completely. The whole escape from Colchis gets about 5 lines. It's later writers, Apollonius and the mythographer Pherecydes among them, who spell out the murder and put the knife in Medea's hand. In Iolcus, Jason's home city, Medea does it again, this time to Peleus, the uncle who sent Jason to die. She shows Peleus's daughters a trick. Cut an old ram into pieces, boil it in a cauldron with the right herbs, and a young ram leaps out alive. The daughters, wanting their aging father restored, do the same to him. He doesn't come back. Medea and Jason are exiled from Iolcus for the murder and settle in Corinth, where they have 2 sons. The longest stretch of ordinary life she gets in any version of the story. By now, they've been in Corinth close to 10 years. A foreign, weaponized priestess trying to pass as an ordinary Greek wife, with 2 sons and a husband still alive because of what she did to get him there. It doesn't hold. Jason leaves her to marry Glauce, daughter of Corinth's king Creon, a cleaner match politically than a foreign wife with a body count behind her. Creon orders Medea and her sons exiled from the city. This is where Euripides' play, staged in 431 BCE, picks up the story, and where the myth's most famous scene turns out to be less traditional than it looks. A note preserved on the ancient text of the play records a rumor already circulating in antiquity, that Corinth paid Euripides 5 talents of silver to shift the blame for the children's deaths onto Medea. In the older version of the story, reported later by the traveler Pausanias and the writer Parmeniscus, it isn't Medea who kills her sons at all. It's the Corinthians, furious at a foreign sorceress ruling in her father's place, who kill the children themselves, then build a shrine afterward to quiet their ghosts. Whether the bribe story is fact or ancient gossip, the scholarship is fairly settled on the underlying point. No surviving version of the myth before this play has Medea kill her own children. Euripides appears to have invented it. On stage, he gives the world the version everyone now knows. Medea sends Glauce a wedding gift, a robe and a crown laced with poison. Glauce burns to death putting them on. Creon, trying to save her, dies with her, the poison spreading on contact. Then, inside the house, Medea kills her own 2 sons, not leaving them for the Corinthians to take, but making sure Jason loses everything at once: the marriage, the line, the future. In the play's final scene, she doesn't flee on foot. Her grandfather Helios sends a chariot pulled by dragons, and she leaves Corinth by air, out of Jason's reach entirely, carrying her sons' bodies with her. Here's the part that separates this from a straightforward horror story. Every crime Medea commits, the murdered brother, the murdered king, the murdered sons, is committed by a character Athenian audiences were primed to read as not quite Greek. Greek vase painters didn't mark her as foreign through skin color. The convention of the period rendered flesh in the same reserved clay color regardless of a figure's origin. They marked it through costume instead. South Italian vase painters illustrating this play dressed Medea in patterned sleeves, trousers, and an Eastern tiara, a wardrobe no Greek tragic heroine wore. Colchis sat at the edge of the known world, past the Symplegades, the clashing rocks, a place Greek sailors treated the way later Europeans treated the far side of an unmapped sea. A country nobody in the audience had visited was the safest possible home for a woman capable of anything. The actual Colchis was not that. Archaeology places sophisticated Bronze and Iron Age metalworking cultures along the Rioni River basin, in what's now Georgia's Gouria and Samagrelo regions, with gold panning techniques, sheepskins laid in mountain streams to catch flecks of gold that likely gave rise to the Golden Fleece story in the first place. The Greeks traded there for real. Miletus founded colonies on that coast by the 6th century BCE. They knew Colchis existed. They just needed it to also be a land where the rules of Greek womanhood didn't apply, so their most talented, most dangerous heroine could come from somewhere else. Medea outlives the play. In one later tradition, she ends up in Athens, married briefly to King Aegeus, then exiled again after trying to poison his son Theseus, the same pattern repeating with a new city and a new man to answer to. She never goes home. Colchis, real and specific on a real coastline, gave the Greeks a princess with knowledge worth stealing. What they wrote instead was a monster with a homeland conveniently far enough away that nobody watching had to ask what the place or the woman actually was.